Brian Alvarez said that the mixed tag match was structured very well, and it was.
Oh, bullshit, structured very well. Literally, after the AJ hot tag in there, the rules stopped. The rules fucking stopped in that whole match. There was zero structure to it because the ref was counting falls everywhere. Am I taking crazy pills here? That match was
No, no,
fucking
no. They had.
awful. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Wrestling Is Now Shitty podcast. As always, I am Dr. Legend, joined as always with my esteemed colleague. The only thing darker than black is...
I'm just a sexy Kurt. I'll make your ankle hurt.
You know, with the angle of that shirt, okay. Midnight, show everybody your shirt.
Right here, baby.
All right, we need to show it properly because with the way the camera was set up, it looked like hail.
Hail?
Not as bad as the Bailey I'm a Hugger shirt, what that gets mistaken for, but kind of close, Okay, how's your week been, Midnight? Watch any good wrestling?
Yeah, I watched a pretty subpar Raw. I did catch a little bit of a couple of clips from AEW Dynamite, and I watched NXT. That one I did catch.
Yeah, I watched the main event of Raw, missed I kind of saw the highlights of NXT, and totally missed SmackDown. But according to reviews, I wasn't missing much. So we got some really, really big news to talk about. A lot of stuff happened earlier this week, but it's still big and reverberating in the minds and thoughts of wrestling fans all over the world. So let's pop open that Boomertron and get right to it. So touching back a bit, we're looking back at the AEW All Out numbers, and the buy rates are looking a little thin.
So the buy rate came in for All Out, and it was around 140,000.
Okay, so, well, what was it? What was the actual number? If you have the buy rate,
it says in between 135 and 140,000.
Then how can I trust this? Where'd this come from? They don't know the actual.
In the Observer.
Okay.
Yeah. Numbers similar to Revolution. So it did better than Dynasty. It did better than Double or Nothing in May. It did better than Forbidden Door. So I will admit that
I quite frankly don't trust your source.
I will admit that my original argument involved the two shows going head to head, and this one did air earlier in the day because he moved it. But it's not going to make much of a difference if they go head to head. The AEW fans are not watching an ESPN PLE.
So I think he brings up a fantastic point here. Back in the Monday Night War era, I think wrestling fans were starved for product. Fans today are fucking spoiled. Much wrestling there is, how much is available. And I think this goes back to even the idea of streaming services where you could get a whole season show in one day instead of waiting week to week for each episode of the show. And now it's become so bad that fans will complain and review bomb shows that try to do stuff week to week instead of releasing it. But getting back to it, I think the AEW fans and WWE fans have a very adversarial relationship. You are either watching WWE or you're either watching AEW. You find very few fans watching both products. And I think it's because their stance on it is pretty tight. Like, look, AEW delivers a different product than what WWE. WWE tries to bring about the in-ring action. They're like, we're all about that. Less sizzle, more steak. WWE, more sizzle, less steak. And even with these buy rates, like, I don't know what's good for them. I haven't been paying attention to AEW. I think at TNA's best, were they averaging around the 30 to 40,000?
If that. But no, this is actually slightly above average from an AEW pay-per-view perspective. They usually average a little less, like just barely above 100,000. I think their record was 175 for All In Wembley, the first one. So this was actually a pretty respectable number. And Brian Alvarez is right. They should have went head to head with WrestlePalooza because I don't think that their buy rate would have been lower than 140,000. Um, if they went head to head at the same time slot. I think Tony chickened out, man, and it probably could have came out a victor and said, "Hey, we went head to head with WWE, didn't affect us, so now we're just going to grow." And uh, and I guess we'll get to the WrestlePalooza stuff later, but AEW All Out show was the best that they could do on that. This was the a pay per view that they were building up to. While WrestlePalooza was just kind of a special, like Saturday night's main event type, special, um, a special basically, right? It wasn't like a standard premium live event. It wasn't WrestleMania. It wasn't one of the big four or anything like that. So I think this just shows that AEW should look ahead of going head to head with WWE and see what they can do.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. My issue with this is just AEW fans and WWE fans don't look at the schedule and go, "Oh my god, which one I'm going to watch." They know what they're going to watch already, and they can't wait to go online afterwards and say what a shit show the other one was, even though they
Yes.
didn't see it. Or they'll
Yep.
just read a review of it and they say, "Oh yeah, your show sucked," and "Oh no, I heard your show sucked." What does it matter? I think both companies are better served right now making the best of their product, trying to make their product the best it absolutely can be, because they are not in competition with you. I don't think you're gonna dissuade any AEW fans to watching WWE. Their product sucks. Vice versa, if WWE's product sucks, stop watch wrestling. Not gonna turn to AEW. The only way I think that could happen is if you get a star from either company going over to there and making people wanting to watch. I remember you tuned up your TNA watching once Kurt Angle left WWE to go to TNA. You became a huge TNA fan when that.
Yeah, I was already watching TNA, but then I just went all out. I started ordering pay-per-views. I was like, I was getting a little obsessed. But to go on your point, you're absolutely right about the star factor, right? Like I went from watching AEW every week because CM Punk was there, and the second they fired him, I stopped watching AEW for a while and went straight to WWE. Even though I was kind of already watching WWE on the side, I wasn't watching the shows. I was watching the PLEs on Peacock. And that's the thing. You're right. You make a great point. This isn't the Monday Night Wars where people are channel switching, and both products were kind of similar, right? They were offering a similar product, right? Edgy wrestling. WCW was a little bit better in the ring, but WWE had a little bit better sizzle. But for the most part, you were producing you were getting two different types of hamburgers, right? One hamburger tastes a little bit different than the other one. Right now, AEW is a hot dog and WWE is a hamburger. Some people like hot dogs, some people like hamburgers, but very few people like both at the same time, unless you're at like a Fourth of July barbecue. So you're
You're a
not going to get.
psychopath. A psychopath
Yeah,
eats a hamburger and a hot dog. Unless, of course, you're at Chicago's famous Portillo's, because they make a
correct.
mean version of both.
And their chocolate cake shakes. Holy shit! But no, but just to finish off, piggybacking off your point is, um, like I said, unless someone really loves Hangman Adam Page and then he signs at WWE, you're probably gonna pull some of those fans over. But they're not. They kind of have their home bases right now, and the only thing they can do is make it bigger. So for Tony Khan, but then again, I think it's easier for WWE fans to go to AEW because of the fact that there's some WWE fans that are like, well, I'm getting kind of tired of the promos. Like they'll go into this kick where I want to see some really good wrestling, and if AEW has an angle or a storyline that can kind of hook them, and then all of a sudden they're watching their wrestling and like, okay, there's this little storyline that's kind of working for me. So I think it's possible, but ultimately AEW is going to draw their 10 to 150,000 pay-per-view buys, no matter what WWE does, and no matter when AEW airs. And they're likely to keep their television ratings. However, if they ever decided to go head to head with Raw or SmackDown, there's a chance they can pull some of that audience because of the crap Raw we just got last Friday and the NXT we got on Wednesday. So go head to head, man. That's my call. Start making, well, not tomorrow, but like start making the preparations to really compete because you're not going to lose your audience.
I think this goes right back to our show. Wrestling is now shitty because back in the Monday Night Wars, the product was so freaking good. You wanted to watch both because both sides were so amazing. Now the product is so mediocre at best, even bad or shitty as we call it, that you're just going to stick to the one you like because you don't have time to waste to watch a second inferior product. If both were really good, I think you would see more people bouncing back and forth. But I think right now both products are living in an era of mediocrity. It's a shame. I don't want to see it. I love wrestling. I want them to be better. But I think it's just become so bad that people are only putting up with they're only generating so much time to watching this stuff that they don't have time to go back and forth.
Well, they don't have to go back and forth unless it's on NXT because Dynamite's on Wednesdays and Raw and SmackDown are on Mondays and Fridays. So if they wanted to watch both, they could, but they will budget their entertainment time accordingly. I mean, with All Out, they didn't have to make a choice. They could have watched All Out, and then they could have watched WrestlePalooza. So they don't have to make a choice anymore. In Monday Night Wars, you had to make a choice, which made both products better because they were like, okay, we need to end this quarter hour better. So what are we going to do? Okay, let's, what is somebody doing? They've got the Godfather out there. Screw that. Put Malenko and Ultimo Dragon out there and they'll draw the fans.
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, it's there is a choice. There's either I watch mediocre product or I go do something else. So
True.
right now, wrestling fans, what they're doing is they're watching the one show that they can stomach, that they enjoy, because even now you can go see AEW fans will never shit on their product, but I think they're over hyping it. They're thinking their shit don't stink. It's holier than thou because they think the second they criticize their stuff, people look down upon it. Well, WWE fans like, no, this was shit. They'll gladly make fun of it, but they're the same fans that tune in every week. They won't stop. Just like us, like we do it. We do it to talk shit on it, but either way. Speaking of talking shit, so 2 weeks ago we decided not to cover this, but it was on our notes list for one of our episodes. The AJ Styles promo where he cut it during a commercial break, and he kind of called out like, "Why am I not on the card? I miss my friends, yada yada yada." And people are saying it's because Vince never liked AJ Styles, and that translates over to Triple H not liking AJ Styles. And so on the 83 Weeks podcast, Eric Bischoff had something profound to say, and I wanted to share this clip with everybody if you haven't heard it, because people are saying, well, it's because he has a North Carolina accent, or he's too small, he doesn't have the look.
Could height have been an issue? I don't know. It didn't seem to bother Eddie Guerrero. Certainly didn't seem to hold Chris Benoit back. I don't think Rey Mysterio walks around with lifts in his shoes when he shows up at WWE. So I just don't think that that's real anymore. May have been 15, 20 years ago, 12 years ago, but I don't think that's the issue now. There may be other issues. I don't know what they could be. AJ's a phenomenal performer. He's an amazing performer. And to this day, even though he's gotten older, probably lost a beat or two in terms of his speed and some of his abilities in the ring, but he's made up for it in so many other ways. It really doesn't matter. I would be disappointed and very surprised if AJ doesn't have one really big run left in him over the next couple of years in WWE because he's too solid of a performer.
Well, the reason this is coming up, I think.
So Eric brings up a fantastic point. And at the end of the day, it's really hard to tell why some people are over and some people. like or get pushed, and some people don't. Sometimes you're like, well, of course, this guy's a merch selling machine. This guy's popular with the fans. This guy has it. And for me, like I think AJ Styles is a great performer. I love watching his. If I see him on the card, I said, awesome. I'm going to be entertained in one way or another. But to go back to that point about marketability, I think it's very difficult to market AJ Styles just as a great performer. In the same way that it was hard to do for Bret Hart, because Bret Hart is considered one of the best performers we've ever had in the ring. He had an edge to him. When he cut his promos, you felt it was real because all his matches were like a real fight. But other than that, Bret didn't have the most charisma. You know, his promo work, you know, it wasn't until really later on, like towards the tail end of his WWE run, that his promos really got a whole lot better. And it's kind of hard to market selling people a shirt with pink and black on it. If you're going to wear pink and black, you got to be one hell of an kicker to pull that off. And Bret successfully did that. AJ, I think, is a mega talent. I think awesome to watch, but I don't see where that mainstream main event level face of the company persona lies within AJ Styles. I could be wrong on this, but I'm a more of a casual observer watching in. I think AJ more than deserves to be in the main event scene for the caliber of match he puts on. But as far as persona goes, when you put him next to like a Cody Rhodes or a current Roman Reigns, you see a distinct level of difference between, you know, the kids say the aura. Those guys have mega aura. I don't see that same level of aura.
And that's the thing about AJ is throughout his career in TNA, he was kind of a clean cut white meat athletic baby face, right? Which, you know, worked for him in TNA. He had a lot of great people to work with. He had fantastic matches with Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe, and then ultimately with Kurt Angle and Christian Cage. Even a couple of matches he had, I believe, with Booker T. I think he had a good match with Booker T, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But the problem with AJ was there's another clip where his first match in WWE, Vince McMahon just kind of went, I got 1,000 guys that can do exactly what you can do. Okay. They're just as athletic as you are. He says, I want to see a pit bull. So that his next promo, he beats the crap out of the Miz and just unleashes that fury, right? And then he kind of reinvents his style in the ring to be less focused on speed and more focused on dynamic athleticism. That's where he came up with the flying forearm finisher. And Bruce Pritchard's like, I hate the freaking Styles Clash. We're not doing that no more. Well, so did Vince, because it's basically like a flat face pile driver. It's just as dangerous as a pile driver, probably more dangerous. But he did get the WWE title for 371 days, and he did main event some really great matches with Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, even a champion versus champion match with Brock Lesnar. So he did have a nice little title reign, and they did, you know, here's a guy whose entire career was outside of the WWE. He comes in, and within a year, they put the belt on him, and he holds on to it for a year. I think that's pretty successful. It's just not the same aura as a Cody or a Punk or you know, or any of the other guys we have out there. So I've always said, you know, a lot of people are putting AJ like as one of the best of all time. I don't know if he breaks the top 10. I would put him, he's not S tier, but he's definitely A tier. He's an A tier talent. And he's the kind of guy that you need. He's kind of like a Drew McIntyre is right now. He's somebody that you can always put in the main event against the champion, and you're going to get a good match. Case in point, who was Cody Rhodes' first PLE opponent after winning the belt at WrestleMania 40? It was AJ Styles, and he put on a 5-star match because that's Triple H was like, you know what? I'm not taking any chances with Cody Rhodes' title reign. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it with AJ, and I think that's a good role to have. You know, that upper mid baby face. Do I think he could have been the face of the company long term? I don't think so, but I definitely don't think he's getting the respect that he deserves.
Definitely. You know, to me, when Bret Hart talks about his Mount Rushmore, he always puts Mr. Perfect on that list. And I definitely feel like AJ's an evolved version of Mr. Perfect. He definitely doesn't have Perfect's charisma, but Perfect always delivered in the ring. He always had a great match, moved around spectacularly. Always knew you were going to get something in the ring. Same thing with AJ. I loved it that he got jacked last year. He definitely changed his look for the better. You know, it made him like, you know, more pronounced in the ring. But I don't think personality or character with that. So the quote unquote aura, which is
Yeah.
you know, AJ is definitely a Hall of Famer. AJ is a fantastic athlete. I feel bad that never elevating himself can be elevated level just because of that one factor that's kicking. You know, that one roadblock standing in his way from ultimate greatness, being one of the elite. You're absolutely right. He's definitely a tier athlete, but just maybe a couple notches below that.
Yeah.
Speaking about a couple of notches below, how about this? Let's revisit the greatest wrestling angle of all time again. I don't know why we keep doing it, but let's take a peek.
Stay composed, son. Stay composed, son.
Oh, no!
Stay composed.
Referee had no choice. Holy hell, it's breaking loose.
Oh, my God.
NXT,
Here
they're
we
in the
go.
ring. TNA,
Here
in the
we
ring.
go. Fight. Fight.
We need some help out here.
Oh, he's
The rest
breaking
of
down,
NXT,
man.
every man, every woman, they're breaking out. They're coming to help.
Back it up, Vic.
September 23rd.
I don't like the stomach.
Vince McMahon's rolling over in his grave right now.
Not dead.
You call that living?
Wow. So TNA has invaded NXT. Who the fuck cares? And I'm being sincere about this one, guys. Look, I don't regularly watch NXT. I peek in time to time to see what my boy Joe Hendry is up to, but that's about it. Okay, it's no secret that the NXT is WWE's farm system. It is OVW streamed for the world to watch. That's fine. You could see the stars of tomorrow today. That's what OVW's catchline is. A lot of big talents came out of NXT to come into WWE. And that's awesome. That's great to see. But I think they're trying to take the product a little too seriously for what it actually is. And by trying to recreate the greatest storyline in wrestling history over and over again, not only are you desaturizing it, you are always going to compare yourself to it. So if yours isn't at the top level, it's just going to be shit. Like NWO, when Hulk Hogan came in, dropped the leg, was the third man, and they're going to run roughshod on WCW, was one of the biggest moments, if not the biggest moment, in wrestling history. And we had a legitimate invasion going on. People actually believed WWE was invading WCW. Who was coming over next? What else was going to get big? This is awesome. This shit right here, this is the Worcester Red Sox versus the Scranton Rail Raiders. Don't know who I'm fucking talking about? No, because that's the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox AAA teams when they're battling against each other. That's how bullshit this is right here. Guys, it is your beyond rookies level talent right here. Yeah, they've got some awesome wrestlers on there, but these are not superstars, okay? These are guys training to become next level. Some people make it and some people don't. And trying to legitimize it by doing this level of bullshit with an invasion angle, oh, these two companies are clashing it out. Even if you had the two top stars of TNA versus NXT battling it out against each other, you're still having the two all-stars of minor leagues fighting. I mean, it's dark match level shit that they're doing here, and it's unfortunate. Like, I'm so glad, though, Joe Hendry didn't involve himself in this shit. That's the one saving grace that they have for this promo, that Joe Hendry wasn't here.
Yeah, I mean, it is NXT, so you can take risks like this without without too much blowback, I guess, or too much negative repercussions. Having, the ability to bring TNA people onto NXT, it's like what Triple H said when Jordan Grace was a surprise entrant in Rumble. We can, take a few guys and send them over there, and they can send a few guys over to us and just kind of work them out. But to shove them all out there at once to try and recreate something, it didn't click with me. Like I wasn't we already know that TNA and WWE have a working relationship, so the invasion just isn't. I'm not buying it. They've publicly announced it's a working relationship, and it's 2025. Like you're not going to fool us on anything really, except for the Seth Rollins stuff. That was pretty damn good. But
30
like I said,
years almost ash at the look. Read the first comment of this post from WWE.
it's actually insightful. It's really insightful.
That was the lamest invasion ever. Just 1 minute brawl at the very end. And yeah, he's absolutely right. Should have been a series of attacks throughout the whole episode, affecting every match, creating chaos for every person on the show, changing the results and future of several stars. Like, how do fans write this shit better than WWE? There's one random guy looking outside in, and they keep telling us on the inside, "Oh, fans don't know what they're talking about. Oh, they don't know what works and what doesn't." Literally, this jackass on the internet wrote a better ending to this episode than the guys that get paid to do this do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it methodically, right? Like, and then you can create angles, and then let's say you create an angle between like a TNA guy here and NXT guy here, and then all of a sudden the NXT guy shows up on TNA and costs him a match, and then a couple weeks later he costs him a match again on NXT, and just do it that way, and then all of a sudden, guess what? The people care. The people care because that guy messed him up in his match and he got him back. So he deserved it, but he's still not mad. So he does it, he's still mad. So he does it back to him. And that's not fair. He's the heel. The other guy's the face. I'm rooting for him. I want to see these two guys fight. That's how you book wrestling.
They've proven that they know how to do that formula and it works. Why? Joe fucking Hendry. Week 1. Guy says his name. He popped up to help him out. Week 2, the other guy says he's not coming out here. He accidentally says his name, and Joe Hendry comes out again. And it works. And it was a build up to those moments, and it fucking paid off. This was a fucking meme. And I mean that this was meant to be posted online to attract people over. Oh, look at all this shit happening. Oh, look at the Nexus when they destroyed the Raw set and blah, 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 blah. 2 million views on this tweet. How many of those views translated to dollars? How many people are excited? The only thing I'm curious about is why the fuck is Matt Cardona back in a WWE? I thought he said months ago on whatever podcast he was dicking around in that he was never going to come back to WWE. He's happy where he's at and he's doing so much better. WWE and all that stuff. Could be remembering it wrong, but that's how bitter a lot of the WWE ex-WWE guys get when I will say this, though. You find it suspect that when a guy who got over, clean-shaven guy, all of a sudden feels like when he needs to change his look, he just grows a beard. I'll just get edgier and I'll just grow a beard out. I guess Sami Zayn took that to heart because he said, look, I already have a beard. What if I have the beardiest beard? And now he looks like Osama bin Homeless, but I digress. Okay, we're queuing up to the main event, but last week we talked about WrestlePalooza, and we both had differing views on the event. I'd like to point out that Midnight called the show a 9 out of 10 PLE. While I didn't actually give it a grade, I thought it was far less superior. And ESPN agrees with me because their own writers gave WrestlePalooza an average grade of a C. Can you believe this? They called the show a underwhelming match besides Io Sky versus Vaquer, and a card that promised epic moments fell short of. Now, personally, I 100% agree with this review. I remember when the news hit and we broke and we were talking about it in our Discord. And I sent him the review and he goes, why would Midnight asked me, why would you and your company give your product that you purchased such a low review? And I had told you it's because of credibility. Look, ESPN is the sports network. If they had rated this show too high, everybody would have sniffed the bullshit and said, no, this isn't right. You're just saying that because you bought the product and you want to make it look good, but we all know it's a crap show, blah, 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 blah. If they rated it too low, it would be overly damaging. They'd be like, even though some people would have agreed with it, they would have been really shooting themselves in the foot. I think a C is a fair grade for the show. I thought it was a completely average show. And I think the way it was presented, they almost wanted to sell it as a WrestleMania level show with the prestige, the pageantry. But when you look at it on paper, it's a fucking 5-card show. And they omitted so many other talents that they could have just put on there. Like, give us 7 matches and make it worthwhile. This was like an in-your-house event. But in your houses used to be no longer than 2 hours. This shit was well over 3. I think they could have trimmed some of the fat on a lot of these matches or cut down on the promos and stuff and given us. Why couldn't we have gotten Randy Orton versus Gunther? Why couldn't we have gotten a Logan Paul versus AJ Styles? Why were so many top talents omitted from this card that could have really helped it in the ring? Like, look, Stephanie Vacquier and Io Sky was a non-storyline match. This was a vacated title that they were fighting for. That was it. There was like almost zero build to this other than that, and that was the best match on the card. So it wasn't just about producing storylines and moving forward. It was about producing a great show. And that was the only match that didn't have a storyline to it, and it was the best one. So why not give us 2 more like that? I think it could have padded it more and made the show more of a beat versus the Brock versus Cena storyline that we got. It wasn't a match. It was a spot that they did to progress a storyline. And I will say this. I don't know if you guys read the scuttlebutt in the IWC. Allegedly, Cena was supposed to win that match, which is why it was scheduled to be the main event. But it got changed because apparently, allegedly, Cena wanted to be, I'm on the way out. Let me make some guys. And I don't know why he said, let me make Brock Lesnar. I think Brock Lesnar's more than a made guy. Yeah.
He's been a made guy for 20 years.
Right. So I don't know where that came from. And did you hear about the Drew McIntyre Cody Rhodes thing was supposed to happen?
No.
So Cody was supposed to drop the belt to Drew after accidental interference from Orton. Orton was supposed to come in there to help Cody, and he accidentally messes it up and costs Cody the title. And then when Cody and him are going at it, or he gets a rematch, his rematch clause, Randy comes back and purposely assaults Cody, turning heel and making Cody go back to chasing again, which could be a great build for their feud in the future. And this was Cody's idea.
Really?
And yeah, and Triple H shot it down. I think it's because it was the Cena Triple H thing. I'm sorry, the Cena Lesnar thing. They said that's Cena's losing and the match, the show on a downer, especially our first ESPN PLE. We need to go out on a high, win. But I don't know. What do you? Okay, I know you think this wasn't a show, but what do you think about this review?
I think the review, quite frankly, was kind of contradictory in I guess in the verbiage that they used. So he gave the event a C. However, he then states that Vakir and Sky saved the show from truly being average. So if they saved it from being average, then it should have been higher than a C, right? By definition, C is an average grade. And secondly, he said the rest of the card was underwhelming. So that tells me that he felt he was going to get a WrestleMania card. And that's not the point of this event. This event was just honestly was kind of like a beta test. Like, okay, we're not going live. Like the UFC did this when they went on Fox. they did a 60-minute special a couple of months before their deal started where they just put one match on the card. Well, they had a full card, but they only put one on national television, and it was the heavyweight title fight. But it was just to kind of, beta test it. And I'm guessing they also wanted to test the technology too. Because remember, Netflix had issues with the Jake Paul fight. WWE Network had issues when it first launched. And it's kind of a like a special, right? It's not meant to be a full-on Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania type pay-per-view. But they did put some of their top talent on the card. They put CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre, and Io Sky. And they also put the Usos in there, along. They had some top talent on there for a 5-match card, and that's all ESPN, I guess, wanted. And secondly, even Dave Meltzer, besides the first match, he gave all the matches over 3.25 stars. He gave the main event 3.75 stars, the women's world title match 4.25 stars, the mixed tag 3.5 stars. So that's all above average. So
Gave the mixed tag 3.5.
yeah, he gave the mixed tag 3.5 stars.
That dude is full.
No, they
Honestly,
actually liked it. Even
that
Brian Alvarez said,
I-
no, I'm going to disagree with you. Brian Alvarez said that the mixed tag match was structured very well, and it was.
Oh, bullshit, structured very well. Literally, after the AJ hot tag in there, the rules stopped. The rules fucking stopped in that whole match. There was zero structure to it because the ref was counting falls everywhere. Am I taking crazy pills here? That match was fucking awful.
They had structure because then they did the mixed submission, the mixed finishers, where the men were putting finishers on the women, and put finishers on the men. Overall psychology and also uniqueness, it was structured pretty well.
Psychology? These were spots to get people to cheer. That was it. For that, I will give them credit. But you're trying to sell me this is structured well? Hell no, you cannot. No. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. No.
I'm not going to let you sit here and lie through your fucking teeth and say that this match wasn't structured well. You know damn well that wrestling is all about getting people to cheer for spots. That's what wrestling is. It's to get excited about match.
It is, okay? But if you're not structuring well, if you're just haphazardly throwing stuff together, at least look at the Royal Rumble is a bunch of spots thrown together, but it's structured well because of the rules. Every 2 minutes, you get a pop. Someone comes in there, they clean house, they do their finishers, they do spots. But that's the structure of the Royal Rumble. This was a mixed tag match that apparently had rules in the beginning. And when they came in to actually wrestle the match, the rules got thrown out the window. And they were just like, what can we do to get the fans to cheer? And I will give them the biggest clap of all time for giving the fans something to cheer about. Okay? But as far as structure goes, from someone not being in that audience, just watching, because many other people were, how many people watch that thing? Let's say 500,000 people watch it, spitballing there. Okay, there was only 20,000 people in that arena that got that effect versus the other 500,000 people watching at home that didn't have that same level of effect. They were just watching and I have my hand on my chin like this going, where's the ref going to step in? What's the ref doing now? They're just watching this. Because if this was a tornado tag match and they were doing all this stuff, I would have been like, oh, cool, let's do this. But they said there was some element of structure. And I told you this last week why I was pissed off. Because they blew the AJ hot tag moment with the classic, the referee missed the tag spot. So they proved that the rules meant something in the match at that moment. And then the hot tag happened and the rules went out the window. And they said, let's just do stuff to make fans cheer. And as a one-off spot, I think that was fine. The fans loved it. They adored it. But as far as a match is concerned, a wrestling match, it was bullshit.
Here's the problem with that is the fact that WrestlePalooza was to introduce ESPN to WWE and introduce WWE to ESPN's audience. And if you watch that mixed tag match and you had some knowledge of, the rivalry, don't tell me you didn't have fun watching that match. And that's what entertainment's all about. Now they're like, okay, I had fun watching that match. I'm going to tune in to see what Punk and AJ are going to do next. And that's the point. And tr- shifting gears for just one quick second, besides the first two matches, don't tell me that the rest of the card wasn't great. You got a really great women's world title match. You got a mixed tag match that got you excited, and then you got a very good world heavyweight title match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, both guys who can work really well together and put on a great match. I don't know what else they wanted. What did they want a WrestleMania 2-night card for WrestlePalooza? Like I just don't know what they were expecting. You knew what the card was going in, and also what were they? Were they expecting a million run-ins? Were they expecting Sting to drop down from the rafters? They put on a damn good show. They put on a damn good show.
First episode, we started this show talking about the ESPN. You had mentioned that there will be people who are used to watching ESPN that will see WWE for the first time and say, "Ooh, let me click on that and see what that's all about." If that was their first exposure to WWE, imagine that. The Brock Lesnar Cena match. If you had not paid no attention to any of the feud, the build-up, or anything else that happened, and that was the first thing you saw, and you looked at it from the outside in, what do you think audience there, those first-timers, were thinking? They were like, wow, what is this? The same thing with AJ Styles and CM Punk. You established a set of rules because these people on ESPN are used to watching rules. What if you watched a fucking Yankees versus Red Sox match, and after a Yankees batter hits the ball, runs down the fucking first baseline with the bat in his hand and clubs the first baseman in the ankle before he makes that, and he's safe all of a sudden? He goes, oh, well, guess the rules don't matter today. He's safe.
I'll watch that baseball game.
Oh, everyone would. I'm just saying that's where are the rules? Yeah, I know it's a even science fiction has rules. Like a lightsaber, when you pop that shit open, it knows when to stop. Now, when people are finally like, well, why does it know to stop? Yeah, there's a bunch of fucking nerd science that goes into that shit. Why it needs to stop? But it's a collectively agreed upon fact that this fictional item will stop at X number of distance, and people agree upon that. Somebody from the outside looking in goes, well, what's stopping it? Why can't I pop a lightsaber on this planet and slice another planet in half where I'm standing from? Blah, blah, blah.
But name one tag match that ended in a disqualification because the other partner, the non-legal person in the ring, was in there too long.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Survivor Series 1988. Demolition versus Powers of Pain. This is the first one. But that was that's right off the top of my head. That was right off the top of my head. This is a classic thing. It's a storyline device that they've used before. There's rules. You have to go by the rules. But you can't circumvent this, bro. You can't circumvent this.
Take your G.I. Joe and your Transformer dolls and go back to 1988 with this whole rules lawyer stuff and tag team stuff. All right.
All right. Enjoy your high pop, no athleticism, rinky dink bullshit that your boy CM Punk had 2 botches on that show, by the way. Mr. Best in the World. Guy's not even the best wrestler in his house.
Whoever your favorite wrestler is, I hate him too.
I forgot who your favorite wrestler is. How dare you forget who my favorite wrestler is? Well, you can't hate on him because he's dead.
That's right. Oh, he's only had 2 good matches in his whole life, and they were both with Brett. Yeah, suck on that.
How dare you? Who do you think I'm talking? Who are you talking about?
Undertaker, right?
What the fuck?
I thought he was your favorite.
Hogan.
Oh god.
Hogan is I'm not saying he's not. I know he's not the best wrestler of all time, but he's still my favorite. We can dig into this as much as we want, but we got a lot. We got the main event to cover. Yeah. So I just want to mention this right here. The writer fires back as because some people were complaining about it, and I love his last line here. The show is over. People have already watched it. My match grade doesn't mean nothing anymore. They got the views. It means nothing. But I think the bigger issue is if we can't be honest for what the show is, then my internal journalistic integrity is under fire. That's absolutely correct. And I feel like if ESPN or any other company pads this shit and tries to make WWE look good, it's just going to look like placating, and it's going to sound disingenuous. And I think the same thing is going on right now with video games, where you have journalists who don't play video games, that they see the companies that they actually like and give those games high grades when they're not worth it. And people look at, like right now, no one trusts video game journalism because they know it's all bullshit. It's paid reviews, it's bot stuff, it's fanboys praising the stuff they like versus judging it on the quality. And I think this writer is doing the absolute best thing he could do in this situation. And I hope they stay the course on this. And I haven't heard any scuttlebutt about him taking heat over it, but I honestly think this is a good thing for ESPN. And
I do think he's wrong about that last sentence. If we can't be honest with what a show is, he's just an opinion writer. He can just say, listen, this was my opinion, take it or leave it. And I would respect that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But he is not the arbiter on what a good show is. And I think that last sentence kind of proved that he thinks he's the arbiter of what wrestling is. And it's just not true.
I wholly disagree. I think you're right in the sense that he is not the arbiter. I think the fans are. But I can guarantee you the fans more or less agree with him. In fact, some people gave him shit because they thought he graded it too high. But I digress. He's not a opinion writer, Midnight. He is ESPN's. He is the voice of ESPN, and you will bow down to him.
No, okay. That's like being the whatever. We'll move on. We'll move on.
And our main event of the evening. Oh my God! WWE WrestleMania 42 tickets went on sale this week, and I hope you have a kidney to spare. So, April 18th and 19th, back in Vegas for the first time since, oh my God, we're going back to the past, Midnight.
Last year.
1988 and 1989 in Trump Plaza, WrestleMania 4 and 5. For the first time since then, they're back doing back-to-back shows in the same stadium. Why? I have no idea.
They were supposed to go to New Orleans, but that got stymied.
But the story isn't the ticket prices going. The story isn't the tickets going on sale. The story is the ticket prices. Oh, and let's look at this right here. Oh my God. Yeah, I accept. I'm just gonna. This is front row. Front row. Like, not even as close as we get. $46,000 fucking dollars to go see a 2-day show. What absolute fuck. Okay. You had mentioned this, I think, 2 shows ago when we talked about the WrestleMania 43 going to Saudi Arabia. That this is the end of the average Joe having a comfortable experience at a WrestleMania. And they ended this shit 1 year before. Who in their right mind thinks this is a good idea? Like, okay, I'm going to level with everyone here. Yeah, I'm upset as a fan over this because I think the prices are outrageous. We have seen shows in the front rows where you got your commemorative collective chair. We haven't paid more than $300 for those tickets. And I promise you, those shows that we had seen are much better quality than anything in WWE has put out in the last 5 years. Like, because of how the spectacle of what we did and the fun we had. And that's how cheap the ticket prices were. I don't think the product's worth what they're charging at astronomical rates. Yeah, it's WrestleMania. Yeah, it's the biggest show of the year. The live event spectacle. It's their Super Bowl. Are Super Bowl tickets this fucking expensive? And even then, at least it's the Super Bowl. If you tell somebody I went to the Super Bowl, you will have more people go, oh, really? You went to the Super Bowl? If you tell people I went to WrestleMania, they'll give you a wide eye and go, WrestleMania? What, fake stuff? With Hulk Hogan in it? Like, how much did you pay for those tickets? And when they wake up from their coma after you give them a heart attack, then they'll realize what a big idiot you are. This is astronomical. What the fuck is going on? Like, what do you make of this?
Look at the nosebleeds. Pick the worst seat in the house right now. $1,200. $1,200
to watch the show on a
in the worst seat in
screen
the house.
above the ring.
There's no
Oh, I take it back.
reason. Oh no, wait, hold on.
They're
There's
even worse. They're even worse. My bad. $800,
$850.
$400 to go up a row. It doesn't.
Like, who would like, honestly though, like, I've sat in the nosebleeds for a couple of baseball games. We sat in the nosebleeds for a Raw in Anaheim because it was like late notice, short notice. But you mean to tell me that I'm going to pay $850 to sit and watch a show in Las Vegas, which isn't cheap? Like, I'm sorry, but like, even as a person who makes the money that I make, I can't justify that. Case in point, SummerSlam 2005, we bought tickets for $300 a piece, third row from the ring, hard camera side, second or third best tickets in the house. I was working part time at Target and saved up enough money to buy that ticket and the plane ticket.
I mean,
It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is honestly ridiculous. There's no justification for it, but well, think about it, right? If you wanted to sit, give me an average seat. Give me a middle of the road seat.
But
just pull it up on the Boomertron, like middle of the road. Like, what's the median price right now that you can find? Like something in like 134.
So just to pull this, most of the sales right now have been on the cheap sheets. You can tell, like okay, they sold out like all of the hard camera side stuff because I'm here, I want to be a seat in WrestleMania. But you're right, middle of the road seat. Let's say right here. This is about where we used to sat for Judgment Day in 2006, where our tickets cost $40 each? $40 each to see Judgment Day, $1,300 to go see WrestleMania. WrestleMania. Their average ticket price for WrestleMania, average to see a WrestleMania, was $50, which means that a ticket to WrestleMania used to be cheaper than $50. Now, are you getting more watching a WrestleMania 40 than you did a WrestleMania 4? Yes, of course. The product's better, the spectacle's better. Yeah. But is it worth 100? Is it 100 times better experience?
Nope.
No. God, no. And look at, like, right here. I think all these seats, the cheap seats, have sold out first. Why? Because these are all the people who just wanted to go to WrestleMania. They bought the cheapest. Yes, exactly. Because if you watch the shows now, like you were saying before, I don't remember what show it was, but it's about the just being there and saying I was there on social media. It kind of pisses me off when big moments happen and I see fans with their fucking phones in their hand, holding it up just to record the moment instead of being a part of that moment, cheering and loudly clapping and doing. That's why I don't think a lot of stuff hits anymore. Or when you watch matches in the ring, it kind of feels like dead.
The fans are dead because they want to record it to show their friends on Instagram. And I talked about that last week, I think. And I want to be blunt when I say this. TKO as a group, they are absolute blood-sucking vultures because they just released a statement saying that if they were choosing their next event in like Des Moines, Iowa or St. Louis, they would say, "How much are you going to pay us to come to your show?" They're kind of thumbing their nose at the world saying, "Our product's awesome. Your asses are going to show up and pay us to go to this to bring the show to your town. And then we're going to charge out the ass for your fans." But then again, you have to almost be a millionaire or the son or daughter of a millionaire to have a comfortable experience at WrestleMania. But there's not that many millionaires out there. But the craziest part is they're probably going to sell 75 to 80% of their tickets. And they're attracting a new audience. What new audience are they attracting?
Well, you had said before, like, what is strategy behind this? And I honestly think we look at it like in the same model as a mobile game. When you have a mobile game, you are making the most money off of your whales. Are the people who spend the most money in the game. I'm not talking about a game where you spend a couple bucks here and there. No, the whales spend thousands upon thousands of dollars in these games to be the best. to live the best experience, to have the easiest time, and to bully all of the other players in the game. And in the same sense, you have your freemium players, the people who play for free that don't spend any money, are just trying to have a normal, comfortable time playing this game. And they can only take, you have to cater to them enough to keep them playing so that the whales keep coming back and spending more money to pick on them, but that the free players don't feel bullied enough to leave because they're tired of what they're seeing. I feel like this is the same exact model that they're catering to the whales here because they know the people that are going to spend this money are the biggest mark. They're not going to be the ones shitting on this product. If you spent, look at this, for front row, the difference between front row seats, $6,000. You spent a whole car, not a payment, a car to sit somewhere and watch a show. You are going to defend that decision to the death because the last thing you want to feel like is a fucking idiot. If I told people that I went to go see a show that cost $40,000 to be there, it better be the show of a lifetime. I better see the entire cast of NSYNC butt fucking each other while getting pissed on by R. Kelly. Lady Gaga's filming it. Fucking Madonna is singing karaoke as it's going on, and Diddy's in a chair with fucking lube just jacking off to it. That would be a $40,000 worth of it. Okay, let's fucking book this shit right here. $40,000, the WrestleMania of WrestleMania. What matches do you need to see on this card? Doesn't matter. We're making this shit up because paying this much money is fucking nonsense. So let's make a nonsense WrestleMania card. Okay, for me, we definitely have to have Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. Okay, those two guys have to go at it once in a while. I think we need to have a fucking Prime Undertaker versus Prime Sting because, you know, everybody's going to want to see that shit. I would love to see the fucking Road Warriors in some kind of match. Just the Prime Road Warriors going after, I don't know, who's a fucking awesome, another awesome tag team that we
Dudley
have.
Boys.
The Dudley. Ooh. Oh my Road Warriors for Dudley Boys.
Yeah, Road Warriors.
Fucking
Dudley
book
Boys.
that shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes. Okay. Keep going. What else we got?
I would have Brett wrestle twice, and I would do the original Hart Foundation versus Edge and Christian.
Okay. Yes. Oh my god. Okay. Now we're cooking with fire. Okay. We got to put Shawn Michaels in there. Who's Shawn Michaels facing?
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles. Yes. I was thinking the exact same thing. Okay. Good. Shawn versus AJ Styles. Chris Jericho. Chris has got to be on the card. Who's he fighting? Who's Chris Jericho fighting?
Let's do Scott Hall.
Chris Jericho, Scott, a good. Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar versus Vader. Street fight.
Yes. Brock,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, let them beat the shit out of each other. Fucking Haas match. Let's fucking do it.
Ooh. Let's do Otis versus Earthquake.
Otis versus Earthquake.
Just for shits and giggles. with Bastion Booger as the referee.
Bastion Booger as the ref. Okay, Andre's got to be in there. Andre, you got to have the spectacle of Andre the Giant there.
Versus the Big Show.
Yes! There it is! Okay, we're cooking with... I think that's even with this fucking card, I wouldn't pay $40,000 to fucking see it. I mean,
main event, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, undisputed champion.
You're gonna see that next year. Why are you gonna watch?
With Dusty Rhodes resurrecting himself on the third day as the referee.
But that's my point.
Mortgaging your house for, right?
Yeah, but like. Even pulling that out of our ass right now, even as we did, that's the shit we would love to see. I couldn't imagine paying that much money to see it. Like at fucking most, I think I would pay like $3,000, and that's like for front row seats. Like how much it cost me to build my gaming PC? That's about as much as I could pay.
Yeah, I think the limit that I would pay right now would be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 because that's a good chunk of my monthly income. But then again, like if you're a millionaire or your dad's a millionaire, asking him for, 8 grand with a plane ticket and a hotel to go see WrestleMania as like your vacation for the year or one of your vacations for the year is not out of left field for a lot of these people. Part of that lifestyle for the wealthy is flaunting it, you know, and
But
making those appearances.
I don't think it's just the wealthy doing this. I think there's a lot of fuckers. I think you mentioned
Yes,
before,
charging it.
flying on credit to come here and do
Mhm.
this stuff. And I can't wait to see one of these bitches on financial audit trying to tell that guy and convince him that this was a show worth doing. I just want to see him flip out and go, "It's a fucking wrestling show!"
Oh
Ugh,
man.
but God help us. I don't like where this is going. I don't like seeing these type of ticket prices. I always dreamt of taking my kids to a show, and I can't even take them to a Raw. You can't justify paying this for WrestleMania, let alone Raw. Raw ticket prices are already out the ass, and it's just too much. I don't foresee it changing anywhere in the future unless the product gets so bad. But I think at that point, TKO will see it as a depreciating asset and try to offload it, try to fix it. They're not invested the same way Vince McMahon. We're seeing, the death by 1,000 cuts, and I definitely seeing we're in the upper hundreds right now. I think it's just worse. But man, that's all the time we have for this show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've made it all the way to the end here, we would really appreciate you guys hitting that like button. Please subscribe to us. Thank you to all of our new viewers out there on the Shorts and TikTok verse. Love reading all your comments. I love engaging with you guys, so keep them coming. Keep talking shit with us, and we'll gladly talk it back. And we look forward to firing back next week and seeing what other shitty stuff is happening in the IWC. So signing off I'm Dr. Legend. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.